fairy tales that children can understand.
They went all over the world to find the perfect sand for this. They finally found it in Holland, the sand that would stand up the best to these conditions. So
I wonder why.
I don't know. But
what about Danish sand?
I don't know.
Makes it so durable.
Or Dutch sand.
Or Dutch sand, yes. Sorry about that.
Look at those things.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I mean, what kind of time and energy goes into that?
Weeks and weeks.
And then to block the kids from just trashing it over.
I hope it doesn't rain.
Yeah, that too.
I guess that's what they do in southern Israel. That's our time for now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope to see you back here again tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.
We have not before ever seen a rain event like we did Monday evening, and we have not ever dealt with rising lake levels like we're experiencing now.
1 year ago, Dane County was hit with historic rainfall. How people, schools, and businesses around the area are recovering 1 year later.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
1 year ago right now was the start to historic flooding in Dane County. That storm dropped 15 inches of rain, causing major flooding in places like Madison, Middleton, Black Earth, Cross Plains, and Mazo-Maney. The powerful flash floodwaters swept away 70-year-old James Sewell. His body was found the next day. The flooding caused more than $150 million in damage as well. Those floods forced neighbors living in about 100 homes in Mazo into the village's fire station. And now that building houses equipment that could help people escape the dangers of future flooding. Danica Lewis has a look at that. Danica?
This is equipment, Eric, that they just received a couple weeks ago. This is all thanks to the community, which raised $20,000 to make sure first responders are as prepared as possible for the next event. Not if, but when it happens.
You can't always be prepared for everything.
Mazo-Maney's fire department wasn't prepared to rescue 100 households and house them here on higher ground.
We were into a whole new realm.
They weren't prepared to be at the station for 24 hours straight.
If it was one word, it'd be exhaustion.
And they certainly weren't prepared to watch their neighbors, their friends, lose everything.
So to see those people with all of their belongings scattered across their front yard, trying to air dry and salvage what they can. Just the loss and devastation was pretty hard to see.
Prepared or not, Chief Mark Geisler and his team were ready to help.
We just fall into our positions and we just keep going until we're done.
And as the water receded, Assistant Chief Adam Valenta was already thinking about the next time this happens. Months of research came to one conclusion.
First thing was to get some type of means to meet the requirements of FEMA, which would be a boat. You'd have one rescuer at each corner holding onto the raft. They'd actually walk the raft out to the victims.
$20,000 of donations went toward buying those boats, the same kind the London Fire Brigade uses. The money also covered gear and training. By this fall, about 2/3 of the volunteers who man Mazo-Maney's fire department will be trained in swift water rescue. Better yet, they'll be prepared to respond to floods and other emergencies in and out of their village.
Although I'd rather see this stuff dry rot, I know we're going to end up going out in it eventually, and hopefully we can assist how we were aided by other departments last year.
As prepared as they can be to pay it forward.
Our community has lots of generous people that really do a great job of working together.
So you may remember Mazo-Maney's fire station provided meals for evacuees and was the headquarters for a 24-hour flood hotline for weeks following that heavy rain last year. The boats you just saw are inflatable. They can hold 8 people at a time in the event of an emergency.
Yeah, they really rallied after that. It's great to see them rebound this way.
Absolutely.
Danica, thank you. Homeowners in Mazo continue to deal with that fallout of last year's flooding. About a dozen homes are vacant. Some have already been demolished. Others are just at the point of repair where families can move back in. 7 properties could be eligible still for a federal buyout, but some of those neighbors say it's simply not worth it for them.
What do you do? Just go on.
Yeah.
Hope to, anyway. I hope it don't happen in the next few years, in my lifetime anyway.
Mazo-Maney residents may not hear from FEMA on that buyout plan until next spring. Some of them had to wait months just for permission to even start rebuilding after the flooding. Dozens of businesses all across our viewing area had to shut down or come to a halt in order to recover. Middleton was one of the hardest hit communities at this time last year, and that's where Jamie Perez joins us live with a look back at what the Pheasant Branch Conservancy looked like this time last year and how far it has come since. Jamie?
Well, this area in particular actually dealt with about $2.5 million in damages. Some of those damages you can still see today through a lot of these hiking trails, which have uneven pavement, but also areas like this sand hill that wasn't even supposed to be here. That area was actually carried downstream by the floodwaters 1 year ago. And also about 250 trees were ripped up by those floodwaters as well. But this is what it looked like 1 year ago today. The area today looks much better, but it did take a long time to get even to this point. Even with all that said, they still have not fully recovered. Right now, they're working on a plan to make this area flood-proof by making this sort of a funnel-like system so all the stormwater can flow away from the area. It'll take about another couple of years to fully implement those plans. In the meantime, they're just hoping that we don't get another flood before that, because they remember what it was like to go through this 1 year ago.
This would have been all water. The whole trail was underwater. There were 350 trees ripped down. There was no way we could have been on this ground right now.
And it's incredible to see the progress that's been made since then, but they do still have a way to go before they can fully restore this area. In the meantime, the trails here are open to the public, but they do ask you to proceed with caution. As I mentioned, there's a lot of uneven pavement, and a lot of the bridges along this road still are unstable at this point from the flood damage from about a year ago.
Yeah, still a lot of work to do, as you mentioned, but it looks beautiful there at Pheasant Branch. Jamie Perez live in Middleton. Thank you, Jamie. Flood damage seemed to seep into really every aspect of our community, including education. Primrose School in Middleton had to shut down as a result. Our Keely Arthur spoke to the leader of that school and shares how it has bounced back in the years since.
We are here at Primrose School in Middleton, and I want you to take a look at everything that is here. We have toys, carpeting, cribs, all kinds of things that make this school run. Now, this classroom is just one of 11, and because of last year's flooding, nearly everything was destroyed. Obviously, they've made a huge recovery since then, and here to talk about that a little bit more is Amanda Kienbaum. She is the owner here. So, Amanda, you were out of this school for 2 months. Where did you put those 150 kiddos that use this place?
Yeah, so from 2 days after the flood until October 29th when we moved back in, we took all of our children and all of our families, and we were in Black Hawk Church in their children's ministry classrooms.
That's incredible. And you said there was a point where you didn't even know if you were going to be able to open this place back up. How were you able to do that?
A lot of hope and a lot of help and support from the community. It really came down to going to Menards and buying some drywall and saying, we're gonna do this, because we had 100 families, 150 children, and 30 staff relying on us to open the doors.
What is it like now, a year later, to kind of have everything settled?
We're home. The classrooms are better than they've ever been. The kids are happy, they're learning, they're growing, they're thriving, and so is the school. And the teachers are doing an amazing job, and the parents have been behind us 100%, 100% of the time.
It's just been kind of an incredible testament to you and to the community and to the people that use this school. Thank you so much, Amanda. We appreciate it. And I will send it back to you, Keely Arthur, reporting in Middleton for News 3 Now.
Now, officials say Primrose only lost 5 students during that displacement period. Of course, it wasn't just Dane County that saw the severe flooding this time last year. Parts of Sauk County were also hit hard as the Baraboo River swelled to near record levels in late August and early September. North Freedom, Laval, Rock Springs, and Wanawak all saw major flooding as well, and Reedsburg schools lost several days at the start of the school year due to the flooding concerns. Sauk County ended up being one of 8 counties eligible for FEMA aid after the flooding, which lasted into mid-September in some areas. All right, let's get a look at your first alert weather now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Kinalty joining us on a drier day than it was a year ago on our backyard patio. Gary?
Yeah, there were some strong to severe thunderstorms last night in Iowa and Illinois with flash flood warnings out to the west in Iowa, but those storms missed us to the south. And you can see while we had the blow-off tops from those storms giving us cloud cover during the day, those clouds have since dissipated. The rain has shifted to the south and east, and right now we're pretty much rain-free. With the high humidity, you can't rule out an isolated shower or thunderstorm popping up in a spot or two this evening. Otherwise, temperatures are pretty warm. Lower 80s around here with dew point temperatures temperatures close to 70. That makes it feel like temperatures are in the mid-80s to near 90 degrees in a few spots. But as we take a look at our day planner, look for some areas of fog to form overnight as the threat for rain ends. Then look for a nice day tomorrow with a drop in the humidity. High temperature tomorrow at 78. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Gary, thanks. Crews from MG&E are going door to door to turn on gas for 300 customers in Verona after a gas line was hit this afternoon. A spokesman for MG&E says the call came in about 2:15 that a contractor hit a gas line. This is in the area of 1129 Prairie Way Circle in Verona. Crews are making repairs and power is expected to be restored soon. One person is dead, another injured in a crash. He shut down the interstate near Janesville for several hours this morning. First responders were called out to mile marker 177 on I-3990 about 5 a.m. The State Patrol says a semi was headed southbound when it was hit from behind by a pickup truck. That Ford pickup was hit from behind by someone driving a Chevy Silverado. The driver of that Silverado, a 23-year-old man from Milton, died in the crash. The driver of the Ford pickup, a 34-year-old man from Madison, had minor injuries, and the driver of the semi was not hurt. Madison firefighters say an 8-year-old girl called 911 after her uncle became unresponsive behind the wheel. That car was headed westbound on the interstate near the Beltline last night. The little girl called 911 after her uncle swiped a guardrail and came to a stop along an off-ramp. When first responders got there, they found the driver outside the vehicle standing. Firefighters say the man became responsive after paramedics administered Narcan. The girl was not injured in that crash. Firefighters say the driver denied any injuries and even denied being in a crash. A 13-year-old boy arrested Monday night after stabbing his mother's boyfriend once in the chest. Police say the mother and boyfriend were in the middle of a domestic issue inside a Straubel Court apartment when the teen decided to intervene. After the stabbing, the teen called 911. Police say the injury was non-life-threatening. The teen has been arrested on suspicion of first-degree reckless endangering safety. A pair of Republican lawmakers are introducing a package of legislation designed to combat elder abuse in Wisconsin. Senator Patrick Testin and Representative John Mako announced that circulation of 4 bills aimed to help protect Wisconsin's senior population. The bills would expedite hearings in criminal cases involving elderly victims or witnesses and also allow brokers and investment advisors to delay transactions from vulnerable adults' accounts when they suspect financial exploitation.
I would hope that this is an issue that will gain the support of leadership in both houses as well as both parties. I think we can all agree as we stand up here from the stakeholders around the state that one case of elder abuse is one case too many here in Wisconsin.
The proposals are a result of the Attorney General's task force on elder abuse, which then Attorney General Brad Schimmel started back in 2017. Former House Speaker Paul Ryan is moving his family from his hometown of Janesville to a house in a D.C. suburb less than a year after his retirement from Congress, when he said he wanted to spend more time with his children. A Ryan spokesman says Paul Ryan and his family will be temporarily renting a home in Maryland, splitting their time between there and their longtime home in Janesville. He is not selling his Janesville house, which he lived in throughout his 20 years in Congress. We are continuing to help your family get ready to go back to school, and there's an event today where you can help teachers get ready as well. Do Good Wisconsin and Wisconsin Brewing Company coming together today to try and help out teachers in our area. They're hosting a back-to-school drive for teachers. Organizers say they've already gotten more than 150 applications and requests for supplies from teachers all across the state, and that is happening tonight until 8 o'clock. That'll be at Wisconsin Brewing Company in Verona. News 3 Now this morning, getting your family ready to head back to school all month long. Tomorrow, Josh and Leah will be talking with a registered dietitian about how you can work with your children to pack a healthy lunch in a way that gets them excited about eating those fruits and vegetables. More to come on News 3 Now at 5. Up next, the city of Madison considering different proposals for a new grocery store on the city's south side. And coming up tonight on News 3 Now at 6, a Madison police special operation is utilizing city surveillance cameras to stop crime. We look into the privacy concerns it's raising. And on Wall Street today, the ups and downs continue with a 173-point tumble for the Dow. The Nasdaq off 54.25. The S&P lost 23. We'll be right back. Four developers are vying to be the one chosen to put a new grocery store on South Park Street in Madison. Neighbors call this a relief after there were concerns that the Pick and Save would close and create a food desert. Rose Schmidt explains how this alleviates a lot of concerns there. Rose?
Eric, maintaining access to healthy food is something Southside neighbors and city officials recognize is a major priority. And now a statewide effort is underway as well.
The neighborhood glue that holds this neighborhood together.
You can't overestimate the impact a grocery store can have on the surrounding community.
Me and many of my neighbors use it every single day.
Rob Summerbell lives just a short bike ride away from the Pick and Save.
If I'm in the store, I often see, neighbors that I know.
He was one of many neighbors who were concerned the grocery store on South Park Street would close and leave the area without access to fresh food.
Very concerned.
But the city stepped in, aiming to make sure that wasn't the case.
The main priority for the city, and I think for the neighborhood and for community members, is to have a grocery store remain within South Madison.
The city now has 4 competing proposals to build a grocery store in the lot next door. And Pick and Save will still likely close at some point.
We would continue to work with Roundy's and Kroger, which we've already have done, and try to figure out what that timeline looks like, what's a feasible timeline, and then work in tandem and collaborate to make sure that there is no gap in grocery store service in South Madison.
This issue even piqued the interest of state lawmakers. 2 representatives are working on legislation aiming to prevent food deserts. They're considering offering tax credits or some type of incentives to grocery stores.
The more work that can be done on this issue, the better off communities will be, and that we'll have more opportunities to try to solve this problem.
That's also what neighbors like Rob want.
I'm hoping for no gap in the service.
Not just for his personal convenience, but to keep that glue holding the neighborhood together.
It's going to help neighbors that don't have means of transportation, of which there are many who walk there, be able to have a reliable, stable source for food.
The city asks residents to come to a public meeting on September 26th where they can hear what community members think about the 4 proposals. All of those proposals have a grocery store included, but they also have other elements such as affordable housing and retail space. Eric?
Rose Schmidt reporting that. Rose, thank you. Let's get a look at your first alert weather now. Here's Chief Meteorologist Gary Kinalty. Gary?
Well, things pretty quiet this afternoon. Actually, much of the day today, even though we had cloud cover, there were some powerful thunderstorms that moved out of Iowa through Illinois, but the blow-off tops of those thunderstorms brought cloud cover for much of the day across the state until we started to clear out this afternoon. Then that allowed temperatures to pop up. Then there were some dying thunderstorms that also brought a little bit of a wind shift, but there is a cold front to our north and west that will bring in cooler and drier air. Now, if we take a look at precipitation over the last 48 hours, by and large, most of southern Wisconsin, other than the far southwestern part of the state, has been missed by the precipitation compared to a year ago, of course. But look at the areas of red showing up here over parts of Iowa. There was flash flooding with rainfall amounts of 3 to 5 inches in those spots. But again, these thunderstorms tracked from Iowa down into Illinois and missed us to the south. And now things are pretty quiet. You can see no precipitation across the state. To the east, the showers and thunderstorms moving away pretty rapidly. Until that cold front comes through, there is the outside threat of a shower or thunderstorm popping up, but nothing looks to be imminent right now, so we may get through much of the evening dry. And take a look at the precipitation forecast from the European computer model. This is through midnight Sunday night of next weekend, showing almost no precipitation across much of the state of Wisconsin. So we should see a prolonged period of pretty nice weather. The live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville showing sunny skies across southwestern Wisconsin. The WISC Skycam looking out toward the west shows sunny skies here as well. And the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing sunshine has returned to downtown Madison. As we check out the almanac for today, our high temperature so far 82 degrees, the low temperature 58, very close to the averages of 79 and 59. Right now we're at 82 with partly sunny skies. Notice the dew point still pretty high at 69, so it is humid out there. We'll notice a significant drop in the dew point temperature by this time tomorrow. Temperatures right now lower 80s through much of the state, a little cooler behind the front to the north and west, but more importantly, those dew point temperatures at around 70 here drop off into the 50s across North Dakota and northern Minnesota. That's the drier air that's heading in our direction. On weather track, upper level winds are coming in from that direction as well, so that will push this cold front, which you can see the showers and storms really just kind of fizzled out on that. So again, just an outside chance we could see a shower or storm yet this evening, and then after that, this area of high pressure to the north and west will move in from Canada and give us dry conditions pretty much through the weekend. Temperatures right now very hot over Kansas, triple-digit heat there. Near 90 as far north as Des Moines, mid-90s into Nebraska, but then behind that cold front, temperatures drop off into the 70s, and the dew point temperatures that are in the 60s and 70s across much of the nation's midsection drop off into the 50s behind that cold front. So as we look at future track, you can see that wind shift to the north, and then that just kind of keeps the precipitation to our south, and very nice weather will be with us for the rest of this week into the weekend. Our forecast for tonight calls for partly cloudy skies, just an outside chance of an evening shower or thunderstorm, some patchy fog possible late with a low of 65. Tomorrow should be a nice day, partly sunny, a little cooler but noticeably less humid by afternoon, high temperature at 78 degrees. On future track, you can see the rain chances gone for tonight, low temperatures mid-60s, highs tomorrow mid to upper 70s with lots of sunshine. Tomorrow night, clear to partly cloudy skies, lows drop into the mid-50s, very comfortable sleeping weather, and high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s again on Thursday, and it looks like we'll see nice weather through the weekend. Temperatures upper 70s. Some rain chances early next week as the humidity levels come back up a bit for Monday and Tuesday. Then we drop back again into the 70s for the rest of next week. As we take a look at first alert traffic right now, there's the Beltline to Fish Hatchery Road. Pretty slow traffic in both directions there. There was an accident. It looks like there's still some delays right around Fish Hatchery Road there because of an accident right at the Fish Hatchery Road exit. Also an accident on US 151 or a stalled vehicle there near American Parkway, north and east of the I-90, 94, 39 interchange. Right now on the Beltline, about 20 minutes in either direction between University Avenue and the interstate. Heading out of Madison, 27 minutes down to Janesville on I-39-90 from the Beltline, 17 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 20 minutes out to Sun Prairie on US 151. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Gary, thanks. Still ahead, could a tax cut be coming amid fears of an economic slowdown? What the president says about it after a short break. President Trump is dismissing reports of a possible economic slowdown, though CBS News has learned the White House is looking at ways to boost the economy. During a meeting with the leader of Romania, the president acknowledged he is considering a tax cut to boost the economy. The president also calling on the Federal Reserve to slash interest rates by a full percentage point. That's an amount the Fed would normally only consider during a recession.
Payroll tax is something that we think about, and a lot of people would like to see that, and that very much affects the workers of our country.
Fears of an economic slowdown come as U.S. Steel sent a notice blaming current market conditions for the temporary layoff of less than 200 workers at its Great Lakes Works facility in Michigan. A majority of economists predict the U.S. is headed for a recession by 2021 at the latest. 3 more of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged victims are suing his estate. The lawsuit brought by Lisa Doe claims an Epstein associate hired Lisa, then 17, to teach a dance-based exercise class at Epstein's townhome. In later interactions, he ultimately demanded that she, quote, go to her dance studio and find other dancers. The lawsuit filed by Caitlin Doe alleges Epstein sexually abused her when she was 17. And the lawsuit brought by Priscilla Doe, who was 20 when she first met Epstein, is the only one to name his purported ex-girlfriend turned business associate, Ghislaine Maxwell.
All of them are against the Epstein estate and various companies that he had as part of his scheme that helped him round up girls.
All 3 lawsuits take aim at Epstein's fortune, which his will, filed just 2 days before his death, reveals to be worth nearly $578 million. Epstein's brother Mark is his only listed heir. Another check of your forecast when we return. Gary rejoins us once again. Final look at the forecast out there.
Yeah, just keep an eye on the radar in case something pops up. But right now, nothing appears imminent. Might see an isolated shower or thunderstorm at some point this evening. Temperatures are still pretty warm. They're in the lower 80s in most spots where the clouds have cleared out. Dew point temperatures are in the upper 60s to around 70, so it feels like temperatures are in the mid 80s. But we'll see a drop in the humidity beginning tomorrow. And look at that dry forecast from tomorrow through Sunday. A little bit of an increase in humidity Monday and Tuesday with some thunderstorm chances, and then another period of pleasant weather for the middle of next week.
Yeah, for a lot of kids, this is it before school starts.
Right.
So enjoy that weather. Thanks for joining us. We're back in 30 minutes with News 3 Now at 6.